Well, hey, today we are going to talk about peer pressure. I have my family in here today to do that. And we just hope for you youth age kids out there, peer pressure is a real thing, and hopefully this conversation will help you and your family to have a conversation to know how to deal with peer pressure.
So, Kenz, how would you define peer pressure?
So peer pressure is when your friends want you to do something that you maybe don't want to do, but you feel like you have to do it if you want to fit in.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you experience peer pressure? How about this, when did it start for kids?
Yeah, when's the first time you noticed that you felt pressured by friends to do something?
Did you feel it in kindergarten?
Probably. I mean, there's like,
Fourth grade?
yeah.
I never noticed it until junior high.
So
It
can
never
you
became prominent until junior high.
give an example of something that all of a sudden you were like, oh, I'm feeling a little pressure to do this.
My first junior high dance. All my friends were like, come on, go dance with somebody. Go dance with somebody. And I didn't want to dance with somebody.
So you were feeling pressure and
Yeah,
you weren't sure you were
exactly.
comfortable.
Did you end
Okay.
up dancing with somebody?
No.
You did
I
not bow.
ran
You
away.
stood up to it.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about dating in the next video. Maybe we'll do that next time. But we thought maybe you guys would give us, because I think you guys have done a pretty good job of not falling for peer pressure. What are some steps if parents and students are out there watching this and dealing with this, maybe in junior high or high school? Let's give them 3 things to talk about. I'll read them, you explain them. The first one is this: admit that it might work on you. What are we talking about?
Yeah, well, no one's going to be immune to peer pressure. You're probably going to face it,
Yeah.
and it's going to be hard to say no when everybody around you is wanting you to do something, or you feel like you're not going to be cool or you're not going to fit in if you don't do it.
Yeah.
So the first step is admitting that it might be a problem for you.
What happens to a kid who just doesn't admit it? Peer pressure is real, but they don't want to admit it because it makes them feel weak or insecure or whatever. What happens to that kid?
They just fall deeper into the trap. Like
Yeah.
they just more peer pressure comes and they just keep falling into it. They don't ever fight it.
And they don't ever talk about it with people in their life because talking about it, I think, is important to process it and realize it's a thing, admit it's a problem.
Well, plus I think, we've talked over the years of different things. I think it's good to get perspective from your parents too, things that were pressure situations for us and how we dealt with it, and to hear, times that we succeeded or failed. Because I think as parents, instead of it just being like creating this dynamic with your kids that you don't talk about some of these real things, like talk about it. Peer pressure is a real thing, and it's better to work through it as a family, learn from each other. Like, Kenzie, you've been helpful to AJ as the older sibling to talk about things like, hey, in junior high, you're going to face this. In high school, you'll face this.
Yeah. So denial, what do you know about denial?
It's a river in Egypt, isn't it?
It's not just a river in Egypt. It's also something that'll hurt you if you... Okay, second thing, here's the second point. Surround yourself with good friends. Explain.
Yeah, I think the older I got, and once I got into high school, I really found my group of friends, and they're really awesome. And I realized that if they really love me and care about me, they're not going to peer pressure me to do something that makes me feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, exactly. If you have good friends, then they'll respect your boundaries, what you want to do, what you don't want to do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because you've mentioned that sometimes your friends pressure you into the right choices, right? So peer pressure isn't always bad. It's bad when it's something you shouldn't do and you cave because you want to try to fit in.
Or you feel uncomfortable. I think that's a good indicator. If you feel uncomfortable or unsure, then don't do it.
Yeah.
Okay, third tip. Have the courage to say no when you need to.
Which is kind of what I just said, like the courage, like when you feel uncomfortable. Like AJ, for you at the dance. If you weren't comfortable dancing with girls, then that was okay for you to say, no, I don't want to do that.
But you can't just say no, because if you just say no, then your friends will keep pressuring you. You have to kind of give them a reason why no. Like tell them it's like your values. Like, no, that kind of goes against like my values or what I want to do. Or like tell them that you feel uncomfortable.
Okay.
How do they respond to that?
Usually they'll be like, okay, yeah, he doesn't feel comfortable doing that. Then they'll back off.
Does that ever influence? Does that ever pressure your friends in the positive way?
Oh yeah, definitely. And sometimes other friends that aren't necessarily pressuring me, but like they hear me say that type of thing, and then it'll influence them to do the right thing also.